Jai Ma. Today we are going to listen to the 21st chapter of Roaring Silence. Again at my father's abode. This is Himalayas, the abode of Universal Father, Lord Shiva, who dwells here with his consort Mother Parvati. It is the universal truth. If anyone who wants to feel their presence here can do so with a pure heart, bereft of preconceptions. I was feeling very much happy to reach once again to this part of earth where the gigantic mountains reminding us with their message to live a life like theirs with deeds which make the head up. But be like me, egoless, pure, sparkless, calm, but full of confidence gained through the strong basics of the goal, otherwise veering away is imminent. I remember the days I spent on these mountains during my previous sojourn to Gyanaganj. As it was in last visit, now also I walked the whole day without feeling a need to take a rest or monotony of solitude. It was a joy by itself. But as no options left with the onset of night, wherever I find a viharam or gompa, some dwelling place for Buddhist monks, took shelter there before sunset. In this way, by the fourth day itself, I gulped away whatever foodstuff I brought as patayam. Now I have to depend only on whatever I may be able to get served at Viharam. As a rule, whoever from the plains plan to travel to mountains should use only boiled water to the extent possible, if not mineralized water, for water in the springs, rivers remain raw. As I was not accustomed with the type of food in that Himalayan hills either, on sixth day stomach problems started. I had to have episodes of loose motion for more than a dozen times in a day. Now I felt it is difficult for me to walk. Somebody gave me some native medicine, something like Ayurveda herbs from their small vihara. I was crippled to the bed where I stayed, but there was not much relief to be availed of my stomach. Next day, one of the Lama who was staying in that vihara came to me and asked me to be in a Shavasana position. When I lay down, he caught hold of my big toes of both the legs and pulled my legs up and left it to the floor. He told, "You will be all right with this technique. Need not to worry." To my wonder, by evening, I was all right by the technique used by that Lama. I started wandering on the Himalayan hills all alone. There was no proper road or any such facilities like compass or a guide or a map with me. Just with an intuition and with an unknown divine impulse guiding through, I was moving with just prayers in my mind to my beloved Guruji. I just kept walking with the thirst of meeting the great masters. Today is the 8th day of my trekking. It was nearing sunset. I was walking alone through the chill cold winds. It was looking extremely mysterious to be there. Himalayan heights are always replete with mystery-oriented experiences. To my dismay, there was no sign of any village, a gompa or viharam, any sign of human inhabitation whatsoever. Adding to the lot, all of a sudden, rain started pouring and within few minutes, it changed into a dense snowfall. I started finding myself among perils, and the clothes and my body almost got drenched. But as the manuscript which I was carrying with me, it was well packed in a plastic cover, so the fear of it being spoiled was not in question. There was not to be worried about. The shoulder bag which I carried with me, with my belongings, became heavier. Nowhere nearby would I find any shelter to save myself from the snowfall. I sat inside of a cleft of a small rock nearby, and from shoulder bag I pulled out the small plastic sheet which I used to carry with me every time during my journey. This time Ramakrishnanand purchased it for me at Kashi, covered my body and shoulder bag with it, and sat for a long time. After an hour or so, the snowfall and rain stopped, but now the darkness covered the entire hills. I thought it would be better to be there for the whole night and meet what may come to pass. For me, that night was one to be remembered lifelong, as it gave me a lot of experiences in that state of being, traveling alone in the wilderness. In fact, like the tormented soul in everybody travels alone for many lives together, lone in the wilderness of ignorance. But we think we are in a big company. If it's said to be a company, you should know everything about the companions. Companions should know everything about you. and that should be supported by verifiable proofs. So, whatever we know about yourself and others is just like talking in the night in a jungle. No reality is there. So, the ignorance also like wilderness for all practical purpose. We do not know anything about our parents, wife, children, friends. Whatsoever we claim to know about is just assumptions, no valid facts with corroboratory proofs. If at all we seem to have a company, it is of the Guru, the Almighty Incarnation. The night was getting darker, and the biting cold wind was blustering around. I was shuddering in cold, clothes already drenched, praying to Guruji. I sat there doing my japa intensely focused for some time, and heavens know how long I was doing so. When I opened my eyes, it was morning. I found myself slept leaning on the rock itself, with sun shining on me. Morning, when I woke up, searched for any sign of inhibition. There was none nearby. I started my journey. The clothes were yet to dry. I was feeling hungry too. Thanks to the heavens, I could see a vihara in a far off distance. I slowly reached and stayed there for a day to dry my clothes and had a good wash. They gave me some roti and curry, whichever was at their disposal, but it was full of chilies. Maybe in these colder regions of Upper Himalayas, more hot and spicy food needed for survival. After having a nice sleep, one or two lamas who are inmates in that vihara sat with me asking about my mission to Gyanaganj. I narrated about my previous experience of the Himalayan journey. They too gave me some invaluable clue about the area as they are locals to the region. So very next morning itself I continued my journey. By evening I reached at the foot of the hills where Gyanaganj is situated. Just by being there I felt a sense of accomplishment. I have done it. Oh, finally I have reached my destination. There was no limit to my wonder and happiness when I saw Ruhuram Paramahamsa at the main entrance of the Gyanaganj itself. He was there as if he was waiting for someone's arrival, maybe for me. He happily received me with a beautiful smile and told, "Son, I am happy that you have completed a part of your research works. Now the work is ready. Better you take it to Mahatapa Baba and submit it at his holy feet." Next day, the same old Swami in his Tamilian look, along with Brugramji, took me to the inner cave. The cave was filled with divine effulgence and fragrances. This was the first time I came so close to the holy feet of the great Guru Mahatapa. With all reverence and an unknown fear, I kept the spiral-bound volume of The Science and Essence of Sri Vidya near to his feet. He was in his Siddhasana posture on a rock. Maybe it was made of crystal. He never opened his eyes, yet we all could very well hear a humming of Om reverberating in that cave as per the tradition of acceptance for anything. So of my work submitted at his holy feet got the supreme acceptance. Bruharamji asked me to take the manuscript and follow him. Just out of the cave, he embraced and told, "Son, this is the first time after more than 50 years we hear the sound of our Supreme Guru, Mahatapa. He accepting your research work is a success by itself. By your work, let the whole universe be benefited." I had tears in my eyes. Bruharamji asked me to take rest for one day there with the same Tamilian Swamiji and return. To my wonder, the Tamilian-looking Swamiji not at all bothered to take note of my presence in his cave. As happened in the last visit, he cared not to talk or give anything to eat either. Even though I tried my level best to talk to him about something, he ignored and avoided, God knows why. Bruharamji called upon me in the morning and accompanied me till the main entrance and permitted me to return. With pranams to all gurus at Gyanaganj, I embarked upon my return journey. It is the end of chapter 21. When we aspire for something good, one will be led there. It might not be easy, there will be hardships and trials. Despite of all, if he or she continues with humility and devotion, will be led to where one has to arrive. In this chapter, Guruji wanted to submit his work to the Gurus in Gyanaganj, but he did not have an easy path. He faced health issues, severe weather, and seemed lost. Yet he had complete faith in his Guru and kept going. Thus he was finally led to where he had to be. This is the Leela of life. Currently, with social media, we are given the chance to see only the best side or the final result and not the process. One should understand without walking the distance, a person cannot go from point A to point B. Let's walk the distance under our Guru's company, and the path traveled is never alone or lonely. Chapter 22 will be released next Sunday. If you enjoy this video, please do share with your family and friends. Jai Ma.